The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.
The thoughts and opinions of this program are strictly those of the host and the guests, not necessarily shared by anyone in the universe, let alone shared by the host and the guest. Dimension, a measurable extent of some kind, such as length, breadth, depth, or height, an aspect or feature of a situation, problem, or thing. Fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. Knowledge, facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject, awareness of familiarity gained by experience of a fact or situation. Imagination, the faculty or action of forming new ideas, or images or concepts or external objects not present to the senses. The ability of the mind to be creative or resourceful, the part of the mind that imagines things. A dimension, as vast as space and is as timeless as infinity, between light and dark, somewhere in the middle of science and superstition, lying between fear and knowledge, the dimension of imagination. Welcome to the Daily Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Olsen, and I have got 30 New Year's facts, little things to know, little tidbits, little trinkets, little trivia pieces that I just want to share with you. Again, I found these at goodhousekeeping.com. I keep to find a lot of these lists that I'm sharing there at Good Housekeeping, but not bad at all. So let's go ahead and get things started as we are ringing in 2022. Actually, hopefully you had a great, safe New Year's as we're bringing in the new year. And, Baby New Year, that's how we're going to start things off, is actually really old. Baby New Year, a symbol of the holiday since around 600 BC, which started in Greece when an infant was paraded around in a basket in celebration of Dionysus, the god of fertility and wine. The baby represented a rebirth that occurs at the start of each new year. So maybe we need to do a baby parade. I think that's a good idea. What do you think? You are listening to the Daily Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Olsen, and we are giving you some New Year's facts. The guy credited for Auld Lang Syne did actually not fully write the song. Robert Burns took a Scottish folk song called Auld Lang Syne and put his own spin on it around 1788, which is the version we all know today as Auld Lang Syne, which means times long past. Also, the time balls, they were actually invented to help sailors. The ball that gets dropped at midnight every year. Long before the New Year's Eve ball drop on the top of England's Royal Observatory in Greenwich, there was a ball dropped at 1 p.m. every day. This started in 1833. Now, this was to help ship captains coordinate their navigation equipment. So it was similar balls, of course, set up in coastal areas around the world to help do that. And that's where the idea came from, the big old ball drop that we see every year. Now, the first Times Square New Year's party was thrown for a newspaper. Annual tradition of gathering in Times Square for New Year's started as a party to celebrate the opening of New York's Times Square building in 1904. Over 200,000 people attended, and now we have the Times Square New Year's Eve party every year, which is televised. You can watch that, and has been for many years. And of course, over the years, parties, even before the ball drop, which wasn't until 1907, fireworks were previously used to welcome the new year, but they were banned because burning embers were falling on the crowd, and a ball being lowered on a flagpole was a bit safer. But there are some countries that still use the fireworks for the celebration of the new year. And maybe they were just too close with the fireworks. Maybe they should have done them farther away, and then they wouldn't have been falling on the crowd. But sometimes you got to think things through. So it's been a spectacle every year, New Year's, except for World War II, that it actually didn't stop the whole Times Square ball drop. Wartime restrictions put the tradition on pause in 1942 and 1943. So Times Square revelers observed a moment of silence at midnight instead, as we were at war at that time. Now, did you know that the original ball was made from 700 pounds of iron and wood. Now, it was later reduced to 400 pounds, which is still heavy, of wrought iron before they switched to an aluminum frame in 1955. Now, the now 11,875 pound ball didn't get its new look and materials until the millennium, when Waterford partnered with Philips Lighting to create a shimmery LED display. So it went from 700 pounds down to 400 pounds up to 11,000 pounds. That thing's pretty heavy. These are some New Year's facts for you as we're bringing in 2022. Of course, I will share with you the link that I'm finding these on at goodhousekeeping.com. You are listening to The Daily Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Olsen. Waterford, of course, comes with a new ball pattern every year, so it always changes every year with all these LEDs. Now, the sphere is made up of 2,688 crystal triangles and has over 32,000 lights. It also displays over 16 million displays. In fact, 2018's latest design is called the Gift of Serenity, which includes cuts that resemble butterflies drifting through the air. So that's what they did in 2008, but that's something that changes every single year. Wow, that is crazy. But of course, it's what you can do with LED lights. 2,000 pounds of confetti also dropped in Times Square, which confetti, not a new idea by any means. In fact, they call it wish-fetti. It's something that they started in 2015 that has become part of the tradition. People write their wishes for the new year and submit them to the wish wall in Times Square or online, and those wishes are turned into the confetti that falls over the crowd at midnight. Also in Miami, they actually drop an orange instead of the ball. The raising of Mr. Neon, the 35-foot sunglass-clad metal fruit. They've been doing that for over 30 years. So, every place kind of has their own idea when it comes to what they do for New Year's. While in Key West, Florida, a drag queen descends in a shoe. A female impersonator named Sushi is lowered from a bar rooftop in a giant red high-heeled shoe. Which they've been doing that since 1996. Just don't let the shoe fall. Hershey's, Pennsylvania, they drop a giant kiss to ring in the new year. Other Pennsylvania towns have traditions that play off their names, like Mechanicsburg drops a big wrench. In Dillsburg, they drop a big pickle. I think in Iowa, we need to drop a big corn cob. Or maybe like a pig. That's what I think we need to do here in Iowa. Americans, they drink about 360 million glasses of sparkling wine on New Year's. So, at midnight, of course, did you know a cork can fly at the speed of 25 miles per hour? So, yes, of course, it's always best to angle it 45 degrees away from yourself, but also away from others, because corks can hurt people. Do not aim a cork at somebody. That is just common sense. Do not do that. Not nice. The New Year's Eve, the New Year's kiss started. That actually goes back to Romans, although a little friskier back then. Ancient Romans were credited with the kissing tradition because of their Saturnalia festival. It was a celebration honoring Saturn, the god of time, where all social norms went out the window. Many of the celebrations influenced the Christmas and New Year's festivities that became the focus when, of course, Christianity took over the Roman Empire. But I guess they were getting a little frisky, but that's what they did. That's where the whole New Year's kiss came in. Also, the nation or the island nation of Kiribati, they ring in their New Year first. Kiribati, also known as Christmas Island, is located in the Central Pacific. They celebrate throughout the nation. Each village, the manabia and meeting houses, where all social and political activities take place. But they are the first island to celebrate the New Year as you start following the time zones around, while American Samoa is one of the last places to ring in the New Year. as they get everything taken care of and moving it around from those different areas. So that's always interesting when you follow the timelines around to with the date lines and all that to see who's first, who's second, and write down the area. Which I guess if you wanted to stay up for 24 straight hours, you could start celebrating with each one. So American Samoa actually the second to last place to celebrate the New Year, behind Baker and Howland Island, which are both uninhabited. Some tourists take advantage of the time difference by flying from Samoa to American Samoa to celebrate twice. Oh, that's interesting. So I guess there's enough time to get from one to the other. Also, New Year's, very terrifying in Akita, Japan for children, which we know that because you see a lot of the Japanese dress that they put on, like the dragons they walk around. Well, they have a local tradition called Namahage, where grown men dress up like demons to scare children into behaving for their parents. So they go from house to house yelling things like, "Are there any crybabies at home?" or "Are naughty kids around?" So they scare their kids into being good for that new year. In Italy, wearing red underwear is considered lucky. I think I have a pair. I need to get some more red underwear. I need more luck. Wearing red underwear on New Year's, so I guess one pair would be fine. Wear them once a year. Supposedly brings you good fortune in the coming year, and also considered the color of fertility. So for those hoping to conceive, it's considered double lucky. Grapes are also supposedly lucky, so Spanish households carry on the tradition of scarfing down 12 grapes in the first 12 seconds of the new year. The grapes represent each month of the year, and the rumor is that this whole thing started as a marketing tactic for winemakers looking to sell more grapes in the winter. I have a problem with that. I'm usually sleeping. I'll be honest. I don't make it up till midnight anymore. So I guess I would have to eat those 12 grapes as soon as I wake up the next morning. Also, pork and black-eyed peas. The fattiness of pork symbolizes wealth, and the peas are believed to bring good fortune because they swell when cooked, which is why they're both popular foods to eat on New Year's. So this New Year's weekend, you should have been eating pork and black-eyed peas for some good luck going into 2022. But here's what you should stay away from. Lobster and chicken. Lobster and chicken are both considered bad luck foods. That's according to superstition. If it's because of a lobster's ability to move backward and a chicken's ability to scratch itself backwards. So if you eat either on New Year's, you won't be able to move forward. So I guess that goes back to pork, and you should just eat more bacon. So bring on the bacon on New Year's. Also, how about round or ring-shaped foods? They also have a special meaning. Donuts, incorporated a round food into your New Year's meal, symbolizes that the year has come full circle. So bagels, donuts, croissants, they're usually pretty round. You could also, even some sort of biscuit, that's round, so that's a good idea. Ancient Babylonians, they also celebrated New Year's, but they did it in March. Now, the New Year used to coincide with the arrival of spring. A 12-day festival called Akitu marked the occasion, which was more about praying than it was about finding a midnight kiss. But theirs fell more into spring, which that almost, when you think about it, wouldn't it be nice to actually do the New Year at spring? It'd be warmer. It'd be nicer. I know for us this year, we just had a storm come through, and I know many other places in the Midwest had a lot of ice and snow make their way through as well. So yeah, it's been a cold New Year's this year. Ethiopia, they ring in their New Year on September 11th. Their calendar begins in the 8th year of the Common Era, where our year counting started. Their solar calendar, derived from the Egyptian, consists of 13 months instead of 12. So 13 months instead of 12. The French also invented a new calendar during the Revolution. This is interesting. The French Republican calendar was used during the Revolution and for 12 years after to reflect the country's New Age liberty. It was designed using a decimal system and was also briefly resurrected during the Paris Commune in 1871. As we're making our way through some New Year's Eve facts as we're bringing in 2022, you're listening to The Daily Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Olsen. Again, I do have a link to where I found these on goodhousekeeping.com that you can make your way through and check them out yourselves. It says you can also thank a pope for making a new year start on January 1st. The Gregorian calendar was introduced in October of 1582 by Pope Gregory VIII as a revised version of the Julian calendar. It took almost 350 years, though, for the world to get on board. In fact, Turkey did not switch to the Gregorian calendar until 1927. Of course, it's been almost 100 years now. We're at 2022. But still, if you think about that. Also, other things, the reason January is called January is actually they're saying it's deep. It's really deep. In fact, it's been widely reported that the month was named for the Roman god Janus, but it's actually rooted in the Latin word annua, which means door. The name was chosen to symbolize the opening of a new door that opens when a new year begins. When one door closes, another door opens. So we closed the door on 2021 and we opened the door on 2022. So that actually makes more sense. AAA, did you know that AAA offers free rides home? So if you are a person who has a little too much champagne for New Year's, you can usually AAA in most states, so this is something to really check out. Most states, they offer a free ride home to people who've had too many flutes of champagne and should not be driving. So if you've had too much to drink, then on New Year's, and there's even other holidays that they kind of tie this into, AAA does that. I know AAA, and there's some other places that do the same thing on those bigger holidays like that, when there might be a little excess consumption that is happening. A song that takes 1,000 years to play launched in on January 1st, 2000. 1,000 years. Composer Jem Finner wrote the piece called Long Player, which can be heard at London's Trinity Buoy Wharf. In fact, it's also live streamed as well. It's being performed by Singing Bowls, and it is set to start all over again immediately when it finishes in 2000 or 29.99. 1,000 years to play. Can you believe that? Also, did you know Antarctica hosts an annual New Year's Eve music festival? Yes, Antarctica. They have a New Year's Eve music festival. It is called Ice Stock, and probably one of the coldest New Year's celebrations, or you could say coolest, and the pun would be intended, to spend New Year's. The event is held at McMurdo Station, Antarctica, where the local population balloons to over 1,200 people during the summer months. 1,200 in the summer months. So is it 600 or 6 during the winter months? So it's a big music festival, but not a lot of people show. But there you go. There are some New Year's facts for you. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Again, I will have the link that you'll be able to check out where I found these at goodhousekeeping.com. This is The Daily Planet. I am your host, Jimmy Olsen. And if you enjoyed this and you enjoyed all these facts and the other ones that I do in the interviews as well, y'all can always share on social media. You can find me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at My Buddy Jimmy, and on YouTube at My Buddy Jimmy 101. So thank you so much for listening, and also give me a rating wherever you listen to this episode. I appreciate that very much. So thank you. This is The Daily Planet. I'm Jimmy Olsen. Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com. If you're looking for help with software, app, web development, be sure to check out my friends at ingenuitycompany.com. They believe in their clients. software development, app development, web development, visioning, design thinking, diagramming, organizational development, strategy. They can help you at The Ingenuity Company. Find out more at ingenuitycompany.com. Barbecue provided by Kenny's Rib Wagon, catering ribs for your pleasure and serving daily at Plaza Pub, 62nd and Douglas in Des Moines, across from Merle Hay Mall. Find Kenny's Rib Wagon on Facebook.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.